Welcome to me. How you doing today? So I want to go ahead and get started on this video speaking about my growth in the financial industry. I wanted to talk about just document things, a few of the doom and gloom atmospheres that we're experiencing, a lot of the different phases of how we view things based on our understandings, and how the economy, how people, how this world is feeding off your energy. It's very important to understand how your energy, how everything is a money maker. Everything that plays out is benefiting someone. They're going to capitalize off all your emotions, some way or another. This is not a discrediting to anyone, because I don't know the future like that. Nobody has. Well, I'm not even gonna say that. But there is a crystal ball. It is a crystal ball. It is a concept, a structure of how things play out, and where you're at through your understanding and your growth. You fall in that category, somewhere in there, regardless. So if you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, and you came, your parents invented the stock market, then you have the crystal ball. If you've been on the floors, I mean, some of the guys that's been on the floors now behind computer desk and don't have the same perception of what they used to do when they were on the floor, so they have to think for themselves. But they still have a better understanding than someone as an intern growing and coming into a position and trying to understand how the market moves, how the economy moves, a lot of things. And so this is only for me and my documentary for the most part. I don't really put out any videos for any kind of viewerships, but this is definitely something, educational video for anybody that really want to see the light, because the light is in so many different perspectives, so many angles, and that's all it really is, different angles of viewerships, and therefore you're capped into a projection, and a lot of times people can't see that and they can't get themselves out of it, and over time they can look back and say, wow, I was really over heels with that, and that was just kind of an emotional roller coaster, but it really wasn't what I expected it to be. And you played and you moved accordingly based on that energy that was fueled. So it comes from a lot of different areas. But let's get into the market. Let's get into, I think I'm going to title this with a few of the fear mongers and people that are respected. And I still can respect someone's information, but I also have to, second guess it, scrutinize it with a think home, and along with my experience, I can't just blank out what I know now and just say, okay, well, I'm just gonna go with this person here because they're on TV, they're on television. Tell a lie on your vision box, and that's really what it is. So back in '08, let's give an example. Jim Cramer, and the recession that was going on. I wasn't a wise student or of experienced student in the market at that time, but I was definitely into it, and I can identify that what was going on and what Mr. Cramer was talking about was two different things, and I can identify, and I was eyeballing. I'm like, how is MSNBC or whoever he was with, Fast Money, was keeping him on air, Bloomberg, whoever. How do y'all keep this man on air when y'all know he is just a bobblehead, feeding the masses to continue to move forward? And when people's 401ks was turning into 201ks, how was that possible? And eventually they took him off there. And I was, I didn't have to partition or anything like that. I wasn't involved in it, but I was watching television. I'm like, this dude is straight up lying to the people, and they are really allowing him to. People are really losing their lives, losing their families, losing all kinds of things. And y'all still got him on TV egging this on like it's a game. So it blew me. And then eventually they took him off. They took him off air because it got hot, and I guess a lot of people, just like, hold up, man, you can't just be continuously lying to the masses of people while they're sitting up here worrying and just going through all kinds of destruction right now. So it got real serious in 07, 08. And then eventually they put him back on air when it started to calm down, and they put him over on Bloomberg and some other networks, and they kind of worked his way back into people's trust. And then he started becoming the face of money making, and of course he has that accent, that talk, that demeanor, and it would just fit the bill so cool to what people want to see, or some people that want to see and catch that eye. But it got serious. It got really serious, and I was a consultant at that time, so it was a lot of people that was coming to me, and and I'm like, and I can see all the headaches and heartaches I was dealing with. But then I turn on TV, and you got this guy over here just lying to the people. It blew my mind with that. So, I know about the Jim Cramers of the world. Just kind of give you a fill in. And again, this is for me and my record. So again, this is, but I like to put out information about financial information and keep people abreast about what's going on here and there, or at least for my growth, so I can be able to look back at this and see where I've come from. Because I actually just popped in my head with Peter Schiff. And I was like, I wonder where he's at right now. How's he doing? Because I hadn't listened to any of his podcasts or anything like that. I followed him in probably about a couple of years now. It's 2018, December 2018. But he actually was a part of my growth 3 or 4 years ago, where it's like, it was gold and silver, and the market crash coming. The market crash is coming. Get your gold and your silver up, and of course, just understanding about money in that perspective. So, but at the same time, I was still learning the market, and I actually got into a more deeper understanding of the market here in this past year or so. And so I took a whole nother route of taking my time and trying to analyze the market and really see the movements of the market and how it moves. Not being on some scalping deal. Of course, yeah, you can scalp and make your money, but really analyzing, understanding things. So, and my confidence is here and there, and I made a prediction on Bitcoin, and I even sent an email to one of my instructors a couple of months or so ago back, and I was like, yeah, Bitcoin. I see Bitcoin at 3,200. 3,200, that's a buy. So it was, it was around 44,000 or so at the time. And so it was still dropping. Of course, all this panic in there. It's dropping. Oh, it's dropping. And I looked at it now with this eye, and I said, well, actually, at 3,000 is when the big boy came in. The big boy came in and bought up at 3,000. From 3,000 to like 3,600. The big boy came in at 3,000. From 3,000 to 3,600, he bought up. And from that point, the market moved all the way up to 19,000. From that point. So let's put it in perspective, because you simplify things. It's one guy. It's just like me, and it's one other person. That's it. Forget everything else. Forget everything else when you're reading and analyzing the markets. And so it's one big dog, and the big boy pushed the market. He bought, and the momentum moved the market, and of course everybody jumped on the bandwagon, and so all the inflation and everything, and it kept moving. But the real money started at 3,000 and ended at 3,600. Okay, that was the only big boy that purchased. Now, when you look at from 19,000 coming all the way back down, there was no big boy, big girl, big buyer, big seller bringing the market back down like it was the only time that it went up. There was no. It's kind of like a boomerang, goes up and it's got to come back down eventually. So how you read that and how I explained that was he's still waiting. She is still waiting around, waiting for everybody to freak out. Excuse me, I'm doing a few things and I'm going to continue. But maybe I don't get to see me too much, but to freak out. And so that happened. I said, well, they're gonna wait, and they're not gonna allow it to let their investment go to waste. They purchased at 3,000. So guess what? When they come back down to 3,000, it's gonna be another hard buy again. So you have to see the market and analyze, of course, obviously, and understand what's going on with it. So I told on the email, I told my instructor, I said, now it was around 4,000 or so, 4,500 or so. I said, well, I would buy in at around 3,200, 34 to 3,200, and to be exact, I told him like 3,220 or something like that. And guess what? I think it went down to 3,220 on the head. How can you predict that? How can you see that? How would you know that? What? Who does that? That's not. The instructor. Well, Trump and the government is coming out in December, and they're going to make some adjustments, and and we're going to have to wait on them and see what's going to happen. And, and let me give y'all a very quick little scenario of me. I don't watch television at all. I hadn't watched television, till Lie on Your Vision box. Man, I don't even know how many years it's been. But back when I was watching Peter Schiff, I wasn't watching TV. That was 4 years ago. So I wasn't even watching TV then. So, I started fading out of it around that time. So let's just say 5 years ago, whatever. I don't watch TV at all. Not even trading the market here and there. I try to turn on one and two to try to see what everybody else think about the market. It bothers me. And of course it can help, but I can read the news and know the headlines, but at the same time I know the flow, and it can help me gather more money when I see a big dip and understand things when it really matters. But I still know the flow. I know the volume. I know everything in that regard. I don't watch nothing at all. Okay, at all. No, nothing. On my phone, I got back into watching boxing. Or I study on my trading. So I watch that that's it. But that's not TV. That's not television. That's not tell a lie on your vision. So getting back to the deal, I put it out there around 3,200, 3,400. It's a big buy up until 49, right at 5,000. So it's still in the growth. It's December the 18th, 2018. So it just popped. It went to 3,200, 34, 3,200, and then now the big boys are back, and it's booming up, and it's probably around whatever 36 to 4,000, whatever. And I'm still, my email went out. It'll go up to about 4,900, 5,000. And I will watch it after that. But I would take my profits. I will get in around 3,200, and I would take my profits around 49. 41, and then up to 49. I said I would take my profits. So we're still in that process. then I can gauge it from there. But I looked at it like it might be coming all the way back, but at least it's going to go up to around 4,900 or so, right at 5,000 before it pulls back. So this video is going to come out well before all that. So we're going to see how that works. But at least I didn't lose any money, because if I was to get in at 3,200 or so, it's doing really good right now. But this is all my work. This is all my understanding. This is nobody else's, fearmonger, doom and gloom. The levels of growth comes with that, or you have to submit to what everybody else says. Just like I was introduced into the market, and I was trying to understand a lot of stuff and the numbers that I had no clue what people were talking about when I was listening to all these podcasts and stuff and these numbers that they were giving. I said, but one day I'm gonna figure this out. And now I can listen to stuff and I can gauge it and confirm a lot of things what people say. And Peter Schiff is right on target with a lot of his information, all his information. So it's kind of hard to put him in that category of like the Kramer, right? But then now I just came up with his name and said, I wonder how he's doing, how that's going about, things like that. What is he on now? What is he saying now? So he's still out there. He's still out there on MSNBC and all these shows talking about how, there's going to be a market crash. And it's coming. Does it affect you, and how does it affect, and is it really coming, and where are we at, and is he another Kramer? Does he have the Peter Schiff? When I actually started listening to his podcast for a while before I realized who he was, and I actually heard of him before I started listening to his podcast, but I didn't recognize it. But when it was back in the days when they was marching on Wall Street and they were trying to shut down Wall Street, and they were talking about the one percenters. Are you part of the one percenters? The one percenters is taking all the money and everybody else is left with scraps. And Peter Schiff came out. I think he was in Walmart or somewhere. It was on television back in the days, and I guess it was like 07, 08 or whatever. I don't know what year it was, but he came out and he's like, I'm part of the 1%, come talk to me, and what do you want to talk about? Let's get this out in the open, and clear out the smoke and all that kind of stuff. So he mentioned that, and I said, oh, he was that guy, he's the guy that was part of the 1%er, and I've always been like this. I not him, or particularly at that point in time, but I question everything, right? So I always look at everything second eye, and I still do. So now I'm looking at it now like I done grown and evolved over time. It's like, okay, where are we at with this doom and gloom, this gold and silver, the market crash? How's it affecting us? Of course, it affects people with their 401k, so they're gonna have their eyes on it. But no one, the average public, 99% of the public has no clue about what the market is doing, where the market is going. Is it even capable of crashing like that? Is it capable of just dropping out on the floor or whatever? All those things, all those analysis. Peter Schiff, and he's shaking hands with everybody. He's on the TV. He's publicized. When I pull up his whole list of video podcasts, it's all his titles and perfect headlines and pictures of doom and gloom and market crash coming. And, he's talking about, of course, it's negative $500 today on the Dow Jones. I traded the market today. I'm not even concerned. I don't even look at what it is. I'm trading it, and I have to recognize it later on. Like, oh, it was negative 500. I'm just in the market. I don't care what it is. I'm going with it. If it's going down, I'm trying to go down with it. If it's going up, I'm trying to go up with it. I'm trying to make money. So, but it doesn't have anything to do. First of all, there's no rock situation where it's going to fall like a rock. Okay? There's no situation like that. It is not a situation like that. There is none. There's never have been a day where the market falls, goes straight up and down, straight up and down, straight up and down like that. It's always going to go stagnant, and it's going to have this. You can't have one without the other. So let me give you out a real insight concept. You have to have sellers. You have to have sellers in order for the market to move up. You can't have buyers if you don't have sellers. You can't have sellers if you don't have buyers. That should if you think on that one for a while and you keep on pondering that one for a minute, that would help you out a lot in your journey of understanding things of everything that you see, especially on this tele-allow in your vision box, but especially in the market. There's no way. If everyone is selling, then how is it going to go down? Who's going to be buying? Who they going to be selling to? Who you going to sell it to? If everyone is selling, then who's going to be the buyer? You see what I'm saying? So look at it in the perspective of, if we are just like with the Bitcoin, it went from 3,600 and moved all the way up to 19,000 on one man. And that one man holds the key, controls everything. And everybody think that they have some input, and that Trump and the government and whatever else comes up is going to be the sway of it. That one person dumped it out and cashed out, and everybody cashed out, and the retailers are the ones that's holding the bag, and they're waiting on the big boys to move again so they can move with them, and then they're going to try to take credit like they really know something. That's really what's going on. So you gotta have sellers in order to have buyers. You gotta have buyers in order to have sellers. For the market to move, you gotta have both. Can't be all on one side. Just like right now, it's been times going into these holidays, you can tell everybody was getting ready. Black Friday, that Thanksgiving week, that Monday or that Tuesday, and everybody was expecting the market to fall that Wednesday and that next coming week. Oh, it's gonna fall. It's gonna everybody, everyone. So if that's the case, no, it's not. It can't. If everybody's on the bandwagon, you better buy. And guess what happened? The market went up. You can't do that. You see what I'm saying? You can't have one without the other. But at the end of the day, we are all retailers, and the big boys are ones that make the market move. So everybody think that they're putting their money in there and they're making the market move, or the government did this and that. So you can sell, and the world can sell, and there can be one person that has way more money than the world. That's where we hadn't registered yet. These guys have more money than everybody in the world. So if I got all the money, and then it's all these people over here thinking they doing something, and they got all their money. Yeah, I don't know. This is crazy, but you gotta have both. You can't have the yin without the yang. So, but in regards of, I'm questioning. Well, definitely no. The doom and gloom thing, all that is what it is. You have to get involved with the markets. You have to get involved with whatever you do before you can truly understand. If you hold the experts at their word, then you're part of the retailers, and they're just gonna feed off your energy, because that's what it is. Everybody's concerned as soon as there's a correction in the market. Oh, is this the big one? Is this the big one? Is the big one? It's never gonna be the big one. This damn market is going to 30, 40,000. Okay? All this, man, we got a deficit of trillions and trillions on trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions. And it just keeps going. And what do you mean? It's going to have to come down. No, it doesn't. That's the whole point of it. It's got to stay up. Matter of fact, they got to keep on feeding it in order for y'all to have y'all plush lives, for us to have all this plush atmosphere and everything this fakeness that we live off of. This is all based on that. They're not pulling the rug on that. You see what I'm saying? So even with, give you the quick history of who was it? Whatever the president came in when it was 1 trillion. That was Reagan, or if that was Clinton. 1 trillion. Then Bush got it. 3 trillion. Then Obama got it. Where did it go from to 9? 9 trillion. And he moved it all the way up to, and then your boy here got it at 18 trillion. So it went from 1 to 3 to 9 to 18. And now we're fluctuating between, we were at 25, 26, and now we're down to 23. Where do you think it's going? It's going to double every time, every president. They have to keep on doubling, tripling the deficit. They can't start to monetize it and start to save and cut costs and things in that nature. That's all talk. This is all bobblehead stuff. You got to have that in order to sustain this fake dollar. That's the only way this fake dollar can continue. So, true enough. Well, so now, right now, yeah, it's gonna pull. It's gonna pull back, and it's gonna pull back, and it's gonna pull back. But what does that mean? I mean, you went from 6,000 up into 18,000, and now you're upset that it might go back down to 18,000. Oh, we got to start all over again because it went from, because you were losing your mind at 6,000, then it went up to 12,000, and then 12,000 up to 18,000, and now why it's not continuing to go up or whatever at 25,000. Now it's pulling back to 23 and may go down to 18,000 or whatever. Really? So it's kind of like that, people. And it's the growth, but at the same time, you have to see it from a perspective of your growth and your light that you come from, and so it's not a doom and gloom situation in that regard. Yeah, even if it goes down further, whatever the case may be, it's not any overnight ordeal. It's never an overnight ordeal scenario. You have to have buyers and sellers. You have to have both. You have to have both. So you have to put things out there so people can sell. So the people that are informed can buy. And then the people that are buying, you have to have buyers that think it's going to keep on going so the people that are informed can sell. That's how this works. That's how Bitcoin works. That's how the market works. That's how it all works. So the people that initially started out with Bitcoin, all they did was dump their money to the retailers, and the retailers have been pushing it, thinking they have a hand in the industry, and now they pulled all the way back. Oh my goodness, what is going on? Now everybody's looking for the big boys and some help from a government. What does the government have to do with Bitcoin? What is Trump having to do with Bitcoin? That should tell you right there. What? You wasn't in it. You have no control of it. It's nothing but a paper Ponzi scheme in a way. And I know people don't want to hear that. No, it has a value, and it's just like the dollar have a value in its belief. So when you start believing in it, it's gonna tank to the floor. Yeah. So it's a lot of that. I don't know where I was really going with this video, but I want to make that about the doom and gloom and Mr. Schiff. You know, you're using the accuracy of honesty of what's going on, the analysis of the market, true enough. But I'm still overseeing, and I still see through it, and I see that it's all a money maker for you. You just really you have to be on that side of the gate, on that side of the fence, and it wasn't a coincidental thing. They hired you to do that, brother. They hired you to put you up on that bobblehead up there to make you, oh, he was right. Oh, no, they was right. Oh, he was right. Oh, no, they was right. Peter's been right all along. They hired you to do that, man. Just like the Kramer. He's just another higher level of Jim Cramer. So one individual has to understand that and see that, and that's where I'm at this point. I've been at that point. I just had to make this video. It's like, man, I'm so glad I move on, but you have to look back and see all the things and all the energy what I was doing. Man, I was so energized, and they had me so man, I ran out and bought silver every time I was buying gold and silver every week. It's like every week, brother, I'm going out. I'm driving a couple hours to try to find me a exchange place and buy me some silver and gold. I didn't care what it was. It was actually snowing. It was snowing, dangerous snow, and I was still trying to get there to get mine, and delete my accounts and having cash on me and stocking up on all kinds of canned food and water and the whole nine, storages and things in that nature. Yeah, I went there. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with prepping for those things, but you still want to not be caught into the. You want to grow and evolve up out of these things, and so, man, I appreciate my growth. I'm nowhere near where I want to be in my involvement, but I'm glad that I'm still sticking with this and understanding and seeing it for what it is. So I can, you know, I get back into tubes. If I get back into tubes now, here and there, it's for entertainment and relaxation. Actually, I don't even get into tubes. I sit down and with my friend and I have my earphones on, listening to watching my study guides, letting everybody know this is what it is. I'm not changing that nature, but yeah, you know, oh yeah, I'm on the holiday spirit. I'm a Grinch, but at the same time, you might see me out there one day, you know, going downtown, celebrating the jingle bells. You know, I'm just in a different phase of my life where I had to put away a lot of those things and take on what was serious to me and still pursue those things. And of course, you don't want to drop everything in your life because that's not going to work either. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have a balance. And but you also want to be aware of the illusions, the different perspectives, and I'm grateful to have a balance of people around me and not end up making some drastic decisions. You know, they were sophisticated decisions, and they hadn't prospered out of anything like that yet or whatever. So there ain't nothing wrong with having metals and things like. You still got to have all those things, but you want to move forward with your goal and not be in this caught in the stagnation of what they're doing with these tell lies on your vision deals here, because you got to have the sellers. You can't have all sellers, 100% sellers, and everybody selling. Who the hell gonna buy it? You won't be able to sell your anything. You won't be able to get out of the market if you don't have a buyer. Or let's just say, if everybody is buying because, oh, Trump is in office and he's in here for a second term, and we know, you know, he's done such of a good job last term, then we, you know, let's just stick with it because it's going to keep on, it's got to keep on moving. Well, if it's going to keep going up, then how you going to, who's buying it? Who's buying it if it's still going up? You got to have sellers. You got to have sellers. That's what the bobbleheads are doing. That's what they know. That's what they understand on a whole nother level. So dwell on that. But I'm gonna keep it short. Y'all be good.